to do that terrible deed that they did. I won't say that it's spiritual. You can easily say it's not my kind of religion. Of course it's not. But that's not the point. It was religion that did it. There's a logical pathway between religious belief and doing acts of hideous violence in the way that there is no logical pathway between atheism and doing acts of hideous violence.
Okay, but to be fair to the other side, Richard, many people who believe in religion believe that the very essence of religion is love for a fellow man, and therefore acts of violence are antithetical to everything that they believe about in religion. What's your response to them? Are they also tricksy or mad or
Not at
deluded?
all. I mean, the great majority of religious individuals are delightful people who would never hurt a fly. But the fact is that there is a logical pathway between religion and violence, and there's no logical pathway between atheism and violence.
It's very hot up here. I'm going to have Anthony and then I'm going to have Charles. Quick comment from Anthony, then Charles, please.
If love is the essence of religion, then most religions aren't religions, it turns out. Well, there is a very important point to be made about Stalin and Nazism. Stalinism, Nazism, and Maoism. They share something in common with the great religions, and that is that they are monolithic ideologies that believe that they have the one great truth, and everybody's got to sign up for it on pain of punishment if they don't agree. They are formally and structurally very similar to one another. It's no surprise to me that Stalin spent his formative years as a would-be priest in a seminary. He would have learned from that a very important historical lesson about the way that you indoctrinate a people with ideas and get them to sign up for the great project, and if they don't, then they're heterodox in some way and they're going to be punished for it. So it's not really so much a question whether it's a religion or a totalitarian ideology. It's the structure of that kind of thing. What I think we are wanting to argue on our side is that people should think for themselves, choose for themselves, do so responsibly, respect their fellow human beings as individual human beings, and try to live thoughtfully on the basis of the evidence.
Okay. I'm trying to get cross sections. We've got 10 minutes to go. I'd like somebody from the middle, towards the back on this column, someone from second left over here, and third, we've had no one from the middle on this column here yet. But while we're doing that, can I just, another Twitter, we're just absolutely covered in Twitter comments. And this one here, by attacking Richard Dawkins, you are making a martyr of him. Why on earth do you do it?
Well, I guess I do it because I was invited to do it by you. But
well, that was a stupid.
I'm not making. Contrary to what Anthony Grading's saying, I'm not making an ad hominem attack on Richard Dawkins. I'm attacking what Richard Dawkins argues and writes, and that seems to me rather the subject of the day.
Okay, and just one more Twitter. If the universe was created, I think you can probably assume that it would lack. Was it lack of self-destructing intelligence, and isn't that proof for evolution? And I simply absolutely not a clue what that means. So let's move straight on over there, but I'm sure it's a very good question. Let's take a question over here, please. Yep, lady, yes. Excellent, lady first.
How would you respond to a sign that I saw outside what appeared to be sort of a mainstream church in the UK, in the southeast, saying, don't think, just believe?
Don't think, just believe. And one over here, yes, second questioner. And let's take the third question. Go, yeah, gentleman here.
Could I ask each side to give an account of the criteria they use for assessing truth? Okay. And then to justify that against the charge of fundamentalism.
All right, and while we're doing this, and the third question is doing it, can we please make certain that you cast your votes? The votes, please. Everyone clear about the votes? Hope so. Questioner here. Yes, please.
Richard Dawkins. As has already been said, you're quite happy with the atheist bus campaign wording. Yeah, after all, you endorsed it. It said, God probably doesn't exist. Now, I'm a bit sad. I brought a dictionary along with me, which suggests that someone of that point of view is an agnostic. Doesn't that mean that it's actually an agnostic bus campaign? You're actually agnostic, and you're probably not the best qualified person to oppose the motion tonight.
Excellent, excellent. Wonder what school you went to. Yes.
Hello?
Yep. And a questioner here. Please go ahead, gentleman in the aisle.
A question about the nature of consciousness. Do the four panelists believe that advances in science in recent years have either shown that it is either very likely or very unlikely that consciousness can exist either as a separate consciousness or as an irreducible facet of humanity which is not reducible to materialism?
A question of infinite profundity about the nature of consciousness. And let's begin, I think, on this side, in fairness.
Well, we've had about 6 excellent questions, but criteria for truth, very briefly, the total human experience, not just what we might derive from science, but our experience of beauty, our experience of conscious, our experience of human relationships. All this we put together and wonder what the heck it's all about. So it's the total range of human experience.
Charles, well, what are you going to pick up on?
I just wanted to say that I'm interested by the way these questions have gone, because it illustrates the problem we have with the whole of this debate, which is it's always a serious question that's impossible to answer. And indeed, when the serious question is raised, the chairman says, oh, that's very difficult, and let's go on to another one. And the trouble, and this is why I worry about the fundamentalist atheists, is because what it is using the method of scorn in order not to have the argument. It's always saying, here's the ridiculous example, here's the reductio ad absurdum, here is the bad behavior, instead of trying to actually to address and talk about these questions that keep coming from so many people in the hall tonight and so many people all over the world who actually want to think about the answers.
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't, in fact, think, Charles, I don't quite accept that, because I think you have had every chance to come back and answer at length. You haven't always chosen to do so. Are there any other of the questions that were asked in that batch that you'd like to come back on?
I'm not complaining personally. I haven't been persecuted. I fear that the whole discussion about these issues is constantly misrepresented by the form that it takes and by the type of argument that sometimes comes from the atheist fundamentalists.
Okay.
Yes,
Richard.
Earlier on, Richard made a wonderfully telling point, I thought, when he said he'd never heard from a pulpit the remark on the balance of probabilities. Well, I can honestly say, I think I've read nearly all your books, I've never read the statement on the balance of probabilities there might not be a God.
What about the bus campaign?
I'll eat my words if you can point that.
Well, I can.
They're so definite.
No, chapter 4 of The God Delusion is called Why There Almost Certainly Is No God. I have put forward a 7-point scale from 1 total certainty there is a God to 7 total certainty there is no God, and I place myself as a number 6.5.
Chapter 4, verse 2, do you want to come back on that?
Well, that's not quite the same as the balance of probability. It's almost certainly probable. It's not quite the same, the balance of probability.
Well, if by that you mean we should be saying 50%, I'm certainly not happy to go for 50%.
I think Can we just... You asked a very interesting earlier question about experience of atheism. I draw a distinction between intellectual atheism and experiential atheism. The kind of experience the poet Edwin Muir had once in a bus, when the human beings in front of him were suddenly stripped of any sense of being human. Now, I do think that is a totally devastating experience. You sometimes get it after a Samuel Beckett play. A wonderful playwright, but you suddenly feel human beings have been stripped of anything to do with the spirit. Now, actually, I think many religious believers go through that kind of experience of atheism, where the world suddenly seems totally devoid and empty of God. And it might have been that experience of Jesus on the cross, when he said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? I think that sense of experiential atheism is actually much more disturbing than intellectual atheism.
Now,